Welcome to the Sunday podcast. This is our chance to play for you some of the best moments from the radio show and some great interviews during the week that you may have missed. If you ever want to check out our show, go to Bongino.com. Go to Station Finder and see what radio station we're on near you. You'll love it. I promise you. We put a lot of work into the radio show. Check it out. But before that, let me tell you about our first sponsor. I recently gave my father MD hearing aids, and I saw him recently. He was hearing so much better. Millions of adults over 65 start to lose their hearing each year, and my father was one of them. Let me tell you, MD Hearing has been a game changer for him. Last time we spoke, he was engaging, laughing, and didn't miss a beat. MD Hearing really brought the conversations back to life. This podcast is brought to you by MD Hearing. MD Hearing was founded by an ENT surgeon who saw how many of his patients needed hearing aids but couldn't afford them. They're FDA registered, rechargeable, and you won't even know it's there. It fits right inside your ear. Plus, MD Hearing just launched their smallest model yet, the Neo XS. Get the high-quality, affordable hearing aids you deserve with MD Hearing. Go to shopmdhearing.com, use promo code PATRIOT, and get a pair of hearing aids for just $297. Plus, they're adding a free extra charging case, a $100 value just for listeners of the Dan Bongino Show. That's shopmdhearing.com. Use our promo code PATRIOT and get a pair of hearing aids for just $297. Welcome to the Dan Bongino Show weekend show. First up today, we talk with a special guy, very special guy, extremely special guy. He's going to be taking over my podcast at a new time, 10 a.m. Eastern time on our Rumble channel. You're going to love it. He's also going to be taking over my radio show. You want to get a little taste of what he's all about? Here is the great Vince Coglianese. I am really elated, really happy to have accepted the position I accepted. I'll obviously be leaving next week, March 14th being my last show, next Friday, so a week and a couple days from today. But when it came to, Jim and me and Mike and Teresa and Westwood One and my wife, Paula, who was, my most trusted advisor, obviously, thinking of who could, fill our shoes with this incredible audience and who could we make accessible to them that not only, wouldn't disappoint, but would take this football we have and run it into the end zone. There was really only one guy I could think of. There's a reason we asked him to guest host a lot, because he's great. And the feedback was just amazing. He will be taking over my podcast. We'll be moving to a new time at 10 a.m. Eastern time. And he will be also taking over my radio show, which you're listening to right now, in just a couple weeks. His name is, and he's here with us now, Vince Coglianese. Vince, welcome to the show, soon to be your show.
Dan, I am so pumped to be here, and I've told you so many times personally already, but I'll just tell you in front of everybody else. I am so grateful to you for all the opportunities to get a bunch of at-bats on your show and to speak to this great audience, and just the idea that I could even begin to do something like this on the podcast and on the radio show, and now seeing it come to fruition. It is a blessing from heaven above, and I can't be grateful enough to you for
thank you,
for the great thing that we're about to start here together.
Thank you. But I'm going to share with my audience what I shared with you in a text this morning. I surround myself with good people. And when you surround yourself with good people, Vince, good things happen to you too. I mean, I'm not anybody's life coach. I'm not trying to be Tony Robbins here. I really mean that. I appreciate your gratitude. I do. But you're a good person. You have an amazing show on WMAL now. You don't need me to tell people. People listening to WMAL already know you. And I really couldn't think of anyone better. You have access to all of these people in that DC market. The interviews are going to be amazing. You're going to be fantastic. But let's get to what happened last night, because I know you're going to be covering this on your show today too. And let's give the audience just a taste of what they can expect as you take over my podcast in just a couple of weeks at 10 a.m. Vince, last night was a disaster for the Democrats. I'm trying to be objective here. I understand that it's tough, but one of the worst things you can do in politics is create a contrast situation where the pictures and the sound bites are so genuinely awful. The State of the Union is a moment where the president looks most powerful. He's got the microphone, he's got the stage. To have Al Green, Vince, waving a stick, actually waving a stick at him with no microphone, screaming where no one can even hear him, which is interrupting a primetime speech where people just want to get to bed at some point. What a disaster.
It was amazing in every possible sense. I was so overjoyed by everything I saw last night. Sad for the state of the Democrat Party, but happy that basically no one wants to deal with their nonsense anymore. So, like, there they are, sitting in the crowd, sort of making these limp-wristed gestures, like absolutely. You ever see somebody who doesn't know how to fight, just like swinging their arms and not knowing what to do?
Yes, many times.
They're like the little kid who's being held back by the adult man, going, "Okay, settle down, son." And the kid's swinging his arms like crazy and is in a big tantrum. That's what the Democrats look like right now. They look ridiculous, as you point out, because you understand media too really well. President Trump, first of all, has a skill for this, and he had all the tactical advantages. He had the microphone, he had the camera, he had an enthusiastic crowd of Republicans there backing him up. He had great, decent American citizens with really heartwarming stories and tragic stories in some cases that the viewer instantly connected with. And Democrats were either sitting on their hands or protesting, and of course, looking absolutely ridiculous and callous in the process. And I'll say one last thing on this, which is, yesterday was Fat Tuesday, as you know. And I thought that yesterday was an all-you-can-eat buffet of absolutely wonderful moments for the American people. I've never engorged myself as much as I did last night on that speech. I didn't even realize 2 hours had passed. People were saying, this is the longest speech ever.
Right, it didn't feel it.
It's over. It felt like it just started. It was that good from top to bottom.
Yeah, it was. And I've been pretty, I think, objective when it comes to this. And, you know, President Trump and his team, this nonsense that they expect, fealty and loyalty to everything they do. They expect friendship and honesty. But, there were some speeches that kind of fell flat. And that was not one of them. I mean, last night was a good one. But what you just said reminded me of, I had a friend when I was back when I was a police officer. And he would always tell me, in the dating scene, you have to be careful and strategic. Like, you want to be in a situation where there's kind of an air around you and not around the other person, or you're going to get rejected. In other words, kind of read the room. The State of the Union, or joint address last night, to be precise, it's one of those moments where you have to realize what you just said, that you are at a significant snapshots, photos, and messaging disadvantage. You just are. I mean, nobody even wants to do the rebuttal anymore because it looks like the subordinate speech. And the fact that the Democrats, who are usually smarter at this, Vince, they're pretty good at messaging, hopey, changey stuff, terrible at ideas, but good at messaging, that they didn't get this says they really still haven't gotten their sea legs after that rout on election night.
No, and they also don't know who they are. There's no defining quality for their party other than that they hate Trump. So everything Trump says, I know, I'm certain you've played this clip, but, Scott Jennings made the excellent point recently on CNN, that it's all 80-20 stuff, and that basically Trump has this political superpower of always taking the 80, and then when he takes the 80, Democrats feel compelled to take the 20 and to hysterically screech the 20% position in public. So that's how they end up with constantly defending this idea that it's okay to mutilate children and that you can change their sex and that they're born in the wrong body and that they can play in girls' sports if they're actually boys. It's insane to normal people. The 80 is really clear on this one. And the Democrats will take the opposite position because Trump takes the majority position. And so as long as your party is defined by always taking the most unpopular position, you're going to continue to live in the wilderness, which is where they are now. They're in political Siberia, and they don't know how to escape.
Well, I'd love to get your take on this because you're on in the Delmarva market, Delaware, Maryland, Virginia, D.C., on the great WMAL, a station we're on right now. Vince has his own show. He'll be taking over my show. He is also going to be taking over my podcast. Give him a follow, by the way. Go to X right now. It is Vince Coglianese. Well, Coglianese, if you need it spelled out phonetically, Coglianese. Give him a follow. I think we added 10,000 followers for him yesterday. Make sure you follow him. He'll be taking over this show. But in that
way
area,
more than that, by the way. Don't undersell your influence here. There's way more than 10,000.
Vince, I think you're starting to figure out the Bongino Army don't mess around. When they all get together, they have their own groups, right, Jim? They have their own groups on the outside. You have little McGroin crew, the original P1s. You have the radio people. They all have their own crews, and they get together, and when they do something, they do it, and they get it done. You're going to find that out. These are the most loyal audience out there. You have other radio audiences as loyal, but definitely no more because it's not possible. But you're in the Maryland market as well, where gerrymandering is a real problem. I know I ran for Congress out there. And I think that's what's contributed to the Democrats' problem you just discussed. It's that there are so few swingy, competitive districts anymore because of the way liberal states have been carved up like New York, that there's really no money or volunteers or reason